Yo, what's up guys? My name is Zane Allen and today I'm going to be teaching you the easiest and fastest way to gear in 2025 in Star Wars: The Old Republic. If you know anything about SWTOR, you probably know that gearing has, and probably always will be, one of the most convoluted and confusing aspects of this game. For no reason whatsoever, they always seem to be changing the system, the currencies, which gear is good, which gear exists, which gear is better. And right now, when you hit level 80, it kind of just feels like you really don't have any clue where to start. In order to participate in higher level content, you really need to be able to get this gear and get it in an easy and simple way, instead of having to grind for months and months and months to get currencies in order to gear quickly. That's what I'm here for. I'm going to teach you the fastest way to get your gear all the way to level 340 so that you can start participating in the hardest content in the game and get all the way to 343 in the future. If you guys enjoy this guide and want more content, go ahead and drop a like and a subscribe. I also stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/ZaneAllenTV. I'm a pretty new streamer and a brand new content creator, and I would love your support. I stream multiple times a week. I'm a nursing student. My schedule isn't very consistent, but turn on notifications and I'll see you there. So the first part of gearing in Star Wars: The Old Republic is knowing where to start. As soon as you hit level 80, you are able to start gearing your character. One of the most important things to understand when you're starting to gear in Star Wars: The Old Republic is what you're aiming for. Every piece of gear in this game has an item rating level. This level shows you how good or how bad this level of armor is compared to one that you have on. So let's say, for example, I equip this 340 level rating blaster, but I have a 344 level blaster in my inventory. It's going to give you that green arrow that says, hey, this is better than what you've got. So I equip it, and my overall item rating right here will go up. Another very important thing to note if you're new to this game, or maybe you're returning and you have no idea what currencies I'm talking about here, you have 4 main types of currency to gear in end game content. The first listed here, we have tech fragments. Tech fragments are your life, let me tell you. You will need these tech fragments and you will need to keep spending them. While tech fragments may not be used to purchase your first set of gear, or your second or your third, they are used to buy tacticals and legendary implants that we'll talk about later. The second form of currency here that we have is conquest commendations. Now these are going to be very important, and these you can get very easily. They're called conquest commendations because you get 200 of them each week after completing your personal conquest goal. If you don't know what your conquest goal is, you can go to the mission log and it's the second tab. Each week, you have to get 100,000 conquest points in order to reach your goal, and you have all of these objectives that you can do to do so. You also get conquest points by defeating enemies and completing missions and almost anything that you do in the game. I find as long as you're playing the game, it's really easy to complete this conquest personal goal, and you get these conquest commendations along with 500 tech fragments, which will come in handy. You can also complete this for every single character in your legacy. So let's say you have 3 level 80 characters in your legacy, you can get 600 conquest commendations per week from conquest alone. But conquest aside, you can also get conquest commendations from doing daily and weekly missions. If you go to the group finder tab and you go to the solo section, you can see all of these heroic weekly missions, which you get for completing a certain number of heroic missions on each planet. You see you can get 40 conquest commendations per one of these weeklies. That doesn't even count the small amount of conquest commendations that you get upon completing each heroic. So grinding out these conquest commendations can be really easy, especially if you have more than one level 80. But if you only have one, don't fret. It doesn't take many conquest commendations to get your first set of gear. The next currency I'm going to be talking about is the FP1 stabilizers. I remember FP1 stabilizer because it says FP. These are flashpoint stabilizers. You get these from finishing missions related to flashpoints, doing flashpoints, beating flashpoint bosses, deconstructing armor that you get from flashpoints. All of that, you can get more FP1s. And finally, we have the OP1 catalysts. As you might have guessed, OP stands for Operation, not overpowered. You get these by completing missions related to operations, defeating operations bosses, deconstructing armor that you get in operations, and all of that sort of stuff. For the most part, if you have a lot of one type of currency compared to the other, you can kind of buy the other currencies with other currencies. So let's say you have thousands and thousands of conquest commendations laying around, you can get a crate of OP1 catalysts with your conquest commendations if you don't need to spend them anymore. But first, now that we've talked about all the currency and I've kind of confused you a little bit with all of the currency talk, we're going to talk about some basics. The first set of gear that you're going to get once you hit level 80 in Star Wars: The Old Republic. If you're new to Star Wars: The Old Republic, you might not know where to go to get started to gear your brand new max level character. Here on the Republic fleet, you go to the supplies area of the fleet, and down here in the very last room, you'll have everything you need to get your first set of gear. And here on the Imperial side, it's mirrored up here, same thing, kind of the last room on the right. So you're going to come over to the supply section, the last room like we talked about, whether it's on the Republic fleet down in the bottom right, or the Imperial fleet up top. And in this room, it's going to be where all of your currency gear is. So if you come to the left, you're going to find Conquest Gear Vendor, and you're going to see that you can buy an entire set of green gear. Now let's talk about the difference between the gears for a second. There's green, there's blue, there's purple, and of course there's the gold and legendary. Each color of gear has stat differences. While this gear may have the same item rating level that we talked about earlier, there may be a difference in the stats. So here's the tier list of the armor by color. First is green, then it's blue, then it's purple, and then it's the gold legendaries. Green is likely the first set of armor that you will get using your conquest commendations at the vendor that I showed you earlier. Purchasing a full set of this 324 green gear will allow you to perform well in most of the beginner content in the end game, which will help you in your gearing goals in the future. It's kind of just the beginner gear, your starting gear set, because we have goals. You're going to go to the Flashpoint Gear vendor and you're going to buy one piece of blue armor using FP1 stabilizers. For me, I recommend buying a belt from this vendor, and that's for a couple of reasons that I'll talk about a little bit later when it will make more sense. Now, I'm going to be a little bit honest with you right now. I think that if you took months to get a full set of gear,
nice to see customers,
especially if it's with FP1s, get a full set of gear, level it up all the way to 340, you still wouldn't do it if you played every day for months. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm bad at the game, but I think that would take a ridiculous amount of time. In fact, I think the entire community is in agreement with that. There is a faster way to level your gear than doing it piece by piece by piece, rating by rating by rating. Now, after you've purchased your full set of green 324 gear and equipped it, I recommend doing one thing. That way is my two little friends here named Hyde and Zeek. Hyde and Zeek are located in the supply section a couple of rooms down, and you can always find him by this mission marker that says Hyde. If you speak to Hyde and click 1 all the way through this mission and skip all of the dialogue, now what talking to these two is going to do is it's going to allow you to give them a piece of gear, and they're going to allow you to buy item modifications from them of the same color and item rating level. You can see here that he's asking for different item rating levels of different kinds of gear. And by the way, prototype is the blue gear and artifact is the purple gear. I don't remember if I said that or not. I don't think I did, but that's what that is. So he's asking for parts for 328 prototype gear. So actually, the one that I recommend that you take isn't on this character because I've already done it on this character. So I'm going to hop over to a different character and show you which one to take, but you're going to take 340 prototype modifications. So I actually lied. I just checked and I don't have any characters at level 80 who haven't done the mission for 340 prototype modifications. I guess I'm just too good at what I do, and that's why you should like and subscribe, because I'm making this guide for you. However, you would select I'll return with the parts you need for 340 prototype modifications. To show you how it works, I'm going to take artifact. For the sake of demonstration, I took artifact just so I can show you how it works, but this would say prototype. What you're going to do is you're going to upgrade that belt that I just told you to buy all the way up to item rating level 340. I told you to buy one item because you only need to level up and trade in one item in order to get modifications that you can then put in almost every slot. I told you to buy the belt because it's one of the cheapest options. What you do is you buy your belt.
Feel free to browse.
Then what you can do is you can upgrade that belt. So I'm going to upgrade it, and upgrading it costs 170 FP1 stabilizers, so I'm going to upgrade it. Then I would upgrade it again, and again, and again, all the way to 340. Now, even upgrading that one piece of equipment is going to cost you lots. Hello? And who was that? Even upgrading that one piece of equipment is going to cost you lots and lots and lots of FP1 stabilizers. I'm going to be making a guide after this video about how to best farm FP1 stabilizers in the game. However, I can quickly tell you right now that some of the fastest ways to get a lot of FP1 stabilizers is to do heroic missions, to do weekly flashpoint missions, which you can do up to 3 times a week, and you can also farm a flashpoint called the Red Reaper. Now, if you don't know what that means or how to do it, I'm gonna leave a link to a tutorial by another YouTuber down in the description. It's really fast, it's really easy, and you can get lots of FP1 stabilizers that way. And if you go to the Conquest Gear vendor, you can see that you can buy 100 FP1 stabilizers for 400 Conquest commendations. So those Conquest commendations will transfer into FP1 stabilizers. Also remember this, because if you complete your personal Conquest goal for every character that you have that's a max level character, you can get lots and lots of these Conquest commendations that can transfer over to FP1 stabilizers to get that belt upgraded. Once you've gotten that belt all the way up to level 340, go back to Hyde and Zeek. Now, in lieu of a blue 340 belt, I do have a 340 purple earpiece. However, that's just for the sake of demonstration. Now, once you have that 340 piece of gear, make sure triple check that you have the appropriate mission for that piece of gear. For you, it should be Zeek's Deconstruction 340 prototype. I'm gonna put a picture of it on the screen. Make sure that that's the one that you have and that you have it toggled and that your belt is blue and item rating 340. That is very important, or else you're not gonna get the mods. You're gonna have to do the cycle all over again, and that's gonna suck. But for me, my mission is 340 artifact. I see that this is purple and it's item rating level 340. So what I'm going to do is you're going to come up to the top of your inventory. You're going to hit this kind of lightsaber coming apart button. It says Deconstruction. You can either drag over or you can just right click and it's going to say Deconstruct. And I will have completed the mission for you. You should have as well if you did everything correctly. You can collect the materials from that and then you are going to speak to Hyde again. And now I've completed Zeek's Deconstruction 340 artifact and you will have done prototype. So then you should be able to talk to Zeek now and buy modifications. When you do the prototype, you will get all of these blue item modifications, and if you do what I just did later on and do the artifact, you'll get 3 more enhancements. It being item modifications means that you can get adaptive gear. It can be cartel market gear, it can be any kind of gear that you can put item modifications into. A very fast and easy way to do this is you can go all the way to the end of the supplies area here, all the way to the end. Where am I? Right here. And there's an adaptive gear vendor. It doesn't really matter which one you get because you're gonna put mods into them, and you can just buy a full set of gear here, and then you can buy all of your item modifications that you need and put them into that gear. And once you have done that, you will have your full set of 340s. Alright, so I hopped over to a different character to show you what it should look like. See, all of these I bought from the adaptive gear vendor, and I put those modifications that I bought from Zeek into all of these. Now, you'll notice though, that I still have item rating 336. That's because you're gonna have to do a little bit more work than that. Unfortunately, that's not the end to get to level 340. However, the rest of it isn't nearly as difficult as the first part. All around Amazon. What? Dagnabbit. That's such a funny name. So, as we can see, every piece of gear that I have is level 340, which is perfect, except for these suckers down here. these accessories you can't put item modifications into. So you need to level them up to 340 on your own. Thankfully, these accessories are pretty cheap and you can level them up pretty fast. Now, I typically tend to do conquest gear because if you get to level 340 with this conquest gear on the accessories, it's gonna be fine. But you can also get the accessories from the blue or the purple, depending on what content you've done or want to do. Now, once you're here, once you're at level 336, you can do most content. In fact, I think that you can do pretty much any content. You might struggle in some hard modes, but I think that you'll be alright as long as your mechanical skill is okay. But to get to 340, it would boost your stats. Alright, so here I am. I'm on yet another character who has his Hyde and Zeek modifications, but doesn't quite have his accessories upgraded. However, there's a catch to all of this. If you notice, all of this sort of gear is bound to your legacy, which means you can't give it to other players, but you can trade it within your own characters. Once you have a character that's fully geared, 340 at least, depending on what kind of content you play with that character, you'll get drops that are item rating level 340. Which pay is it? So I like to collect these 340 drops from my accessories from that main character or characters, whoever hits 340, and I like to drop them in my legacy bank so that I can use these accessories on my other characters. So like I'm gonna take all of these and I'm gonna put them onto him, and I'm already 338. I just need some packages and that's about it. Same thing goes for the blue pieces. As I mentioned earlier, literally all of my characters have the blue Hyde and Zeeks unlocked, and that's because I will get drops for 340 pieces of blue gear that I like to drop in my legacy bank so that new characters who hit level 80 can unlock Hyde and Zeek. The Hyde and Zeek modifications themselves are also bound to legacy, and so you can pass those modifications on from one character that has it unlocked to the rest of your characters. It's just a 2-hour timer from the time that you buy them to when you can put them in the legacy bank, which I think is annoying, so I like to do it this way instead. So once you get all of your modifications and all of your accessories upgraded to 340, you should be item rating level 340. Next, there are only 2 things left to talk about for gearing, and those are legendary implants and tacticals. This is a simple guide, so I'm just going to show you how to unlock the implant vendor and kind of what you're looking for when you're buying legendary implants. Alright, so right now I'm back on kitchen table to show you how to unlock the implant vendor. As you can see right now, there's no little droid because you need to unlock him. So you can talk to this guy in the same section with all of the gear sets. He's the implant researcher. You talk to him, you can kind of just click through it, and you'll have to wait a minute. You actually have to wait 30 seconds in reality. It's kind of annoying, but you kind of just sit here. 3, 2, 1. Now I'm going to be able to speak to him again. Blah, 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 blah. And he's going to give you this mission that says technological advancements. So you're going to charge the neuro key by completing activities. So basically, you have to get 100 points in order to unlock this vendor. By completing a personal conquest, you get 34 points. By doing any of these other things, it tells you how much charge you get. They repeat. You can do them over and over again until you get 100. Once you hit 100, he'll have another prompt for you to talk to him. You'll speak to him, and then you'll unlock the vendor. Once you have this implant vendor unlocked, you can buy any of these implants. Now, they start out at 326, as you can see, and you upgrade them just like you upgrade the rest of your gear bit by bit. Now, the last thing that we're going to be talking about in this simple guide is the tacticals. These are little pieces of gear that you can buy for tech fragments. Yeah, cut me off. You equip them and they give you some kind of buff. Kind of like legendary implants and relics, but a lot stronger. They can change the entire way that your rotation works, the entire way that your character works. They can even save your life if you go below 20% health. So there's a whole bunch of them. Some you can get on any class, some are by class or by spec. They're really cool. I always say that you should pick the tactical that you enjoy the most. You should read all of them. If you're not sure what tactical is good for your class, for your spec, you can always look up a guide. I'm going to link SWTOR below. She has some really great gearing guides and tactical recommendations that I have used in the past to help you decide which tacticals you should be using. But I am a big proponent for playing the way that you enjoy. I'm a very mobile healer. I love mercenary healing, and so I tend to get running restoration where I can activate healing scan while moving. I do sometimes switch between that and this one, the SC4 treatment scanner. Just depending on the situation, it really depends on your playstyle, what you enjoy, and what you're looking for in content. It really depends from person to person. Some people will tell you that you need a different tactical. I disagree. I think as long as you know what your tactical does and you're using it well and you can make it work, then that's the tactical for you. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this guide. Sorry if it was a little all over the place. This is my first YouTube video pretty much ever. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comment section below and I will try my best to answer them. Again, if you liked this video and this guide and you want more content from me in the future, let me know by leaving a like and hitting the subscribe button. That would mean a lot to me. Good luck on your gearing journey. Look out for that FP1 farming guide in the future. And my name is Zane. Thank you for watching. On my own, broken alone, I feel the rain crashing down. My own, broken alone, I feel the rain crashing down.